get warmer. So sit comfortably, however that might be. You know you're welcome to sit up on a blanket if you want to. Stretch your legs out or cross your legs, whatever feels really good. And just start to feel that nice ease of lengthening up through the top of your head. And at the same time, feel your sitting bones drawing down. So you have this kind of equal and opposite, lengthening upward at the same time, you know, pressing downward. So you've got lots of space in your spine. Let your eyes gently close. And then just watch your breath coming in and going out through your nose. Just do 2 or 3 calming, even breaths together where we inhale for 4 counts and then exhale for 4 counts. So just inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. And inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. And then just go on your own. If you want to deepen your breaths, do, but think of letting yourself stay fairly even with the inhales and the exhales. Let's release our hands on out beside us. And let's just add movement with that same thing of keeping even with our inhales and our exhales and our movements. So we're going to inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And then when we exhale, let them come right back down the same path to be right there with your fingertips on the floor. But let yourself count as you breathe in and rise the arms up. And then reach that same count as you exhale and let the arms fill the counts as they come on back down. So just focus on that for 3 or 4 more breaths. The next time your fingertips come down to the floor, stay there. And then just let yourself watch your breath. Good. And now just rise your arms up a little bit. Bring your left hand over to rest on your right knee. Okay, don't twist too much yet. Just kind of bring your hand over gently. And then, when you start to twist, let your head come on to look to the wall there beside you. Maybe you even want to look a little more behind yourself. That's up to you. Real easy, gentle twist though. And just let your right fingertips just give you a little support back there. And if your eyes are closed, open them now for a second and then see if you can imagine looking up to the left corners of your eyes, really. You're looking up to the left and then lower and look down to the left. So you're still looking towards the left corners of the eyes. And then do that again. Look up with your eyes towards the left. And then look down with your eyes towards the left. And then close your eyes gently. One more breath here. And as you exhale, come on back into center. Take a breath here at center. Let yourself just lengthen up. And then we'll take the right hand over just to rest on the left knee. And take your time here again. Just take your time to lengthen upward. And then when you're ready to come on around towards that twist and bring your left fingertips back to wherever feels comfortable. Again, you can turn to look more over your shoulder if you want. Let your eyes open gently and then bring yourself to look up to the right corners of your eyes a little bit. And then lower to look down to the corners down on the right side. So again, up, thinking, looking right, and then down to the right. And then gently close your eyes again. One more breath. And then slowly let yourself roll on back around into center. Flex your feet a little bit. Come on forward into a seated forward bend. So take your time. You know, you don't have to go far. You can have your legs long. You can be cross-legged. Let yourself come to where you feel good in your forward bend there. If you can let your head hang due. Start to feel that nice release of the low back and the hips. You can turn your head a little side to side if that feels good. Just let yourself feel release through your neck. Good. One more breath here. And then let's walk ourselves on back up, bringing your hands on out beside you onto the floor. And let's inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And bring our hands together as they come down through the midline to be in front of our chests, in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. Good. And if you're cross-legged, let's switch the cross of our legs. If you need to stretch them out first, do it. Let yourself bring your other leg in front, and if you're long-legged, go ahead and stay long-legged there. And we're going to come forward again. So take your time, ease your way forward. Doesn't matter whether you want to stay up really high with your back staying totally flat, or maybe once you come pretty much forward, if you want to go ahead and fold, let your torso come forward, let the head hang due. And just breathe. More breath here. And then we're going to slowly walk ourselves on back up. And let yourself keep walking backwards with your hands. You can support either to fingertips or you can go flat onto your hands. That just depends on you. Draw your chest forward, your shoulders back, open up here through the front body. You know, be comfortable in where you look. I mean, it might feel kind of good to lift up your chin, or it might feel better to keep your chin more parallel to the floor. Good. One more breath. And then let yourself release and come on up. And let's stretch our legs out, but let them come just a little bit apart, not into a real wide angle, just not directly in front of your hips, a little bit wider. And then come on forward. Just to feel the backs of the legs opening up there. You can reach to your shins, your ankles, or your toes. Just ease your way into opening up into the backs of the legs there. Good. One more breath there. And then we'll come on back up right here. Bring your feet again and now in front of you so that you're sitting in your staff pose, really, letting the legs be directly forward to the hips. Flex the feet. Feel the heels down on the ground. Feel that sense of pressing into the balls of your feet a little bit. Sit up nice and tall. Feel those sitting bones reaching down and the top of your head reaching up. And feel nice and open across your chest. Good. And then let yourself release. Shake everything out a little bit. Let's come on around towards our hands and knees. So shake out whatever you need and grab whatever you need. So if you want to have your hands on a blanket or your knees on a blanket, by all means do. And be mindful of how your hands are on the floor. If you're able to be flat on your hands, get your pointer fingers about parallel to each other. hands underneath your shoulders, and then knees underneath your hips. And then from there, just let yourself wag your tail a little bit and let your upper body respond however you want, right? So as your hips shift just a little bit, so you bring the weight more on one knee and then the other, just let your upper body do what it wants, right? And then come on back into center, and exhale your way up into your cat pose. Press into the tops of the toes here. Press into your hands equally. Feel that navel drawing towards the spine. And on your next inhale, send the tailbone backing up. Feel the belly releasing downward in your chest. You know, you can look wherever feels good for your neck, down or forward. And exhale your way back into your cat pose here. Pressing into your hands, pressing into the tops of the feet, and inhale your way back through into your cow. And then one more time, exhaling, drawing up into that cat pose. And inhaling your way back through into your cow. And then come to more neutral spine here now, looking down there on the floor. We're going to stretch our right leg back behind us, curl the toes under, and just open up the back of the leg there. So just feel that pressure as you press into the inner heel. Feel the openness for the calf there. Good, and let's just switch legs. So bring that left foot back on the floor. Really enjoy opening up through the back of your left leg. Feel your calf. Good. Now let's switch again. Bringing that right leg back. This time float your leg up about parallel to the floor. Adjust your hands where you need so you know if you want to reach your left hand forward, it's doable, right? Feel the belly engage. Have a little balance there. And then we're going to bring the hand and the foot and knee back down and go to the other side. So if the left leg comes back and floats up, and you shift your weight onto that left hand so you can reach your right arm forward, coming into balance. Good, and then bring your hand down, bring your knee down, and let's come down onto our forearms. Clasp your hands, send your pinky finger out, and then just start to shift forward enough to press down into your forearms. And then let your chest melt down towards the ground a little bit. So you find that release between the shoulder blades on your back. Good, and let's shift back towards pose of a child from here. So ease your way, and you know, if you need to keep your hips off your heels, stay up higher, right? If you can shift back more, do. And let's bring our hands over to the right. Walk yourself on over to the right and breathe into that left side of the body here. So remember, you can still have your hips kind of up and let yourself still do that side stretch here for that left side of the body. Breathing into that left side so the ribs expand as you inhale. And then we're going to come back through center and we're going to go the other side. So as you make your way over to the left and you feel that extension now through the right side of the body, and you feel the ribs expand as you inhale on that right side. And we're going to walk back into center now. And from here, we're going to come forward for lunges. So if you know you like your blocks, grab your blocks. Bringing your left foot forward and your right foot back and coming into that first lunge. So you know, totally up to you, how long of a stance you take, how high your hands are. So whether they're up on the highest height of the blocks or on the floor, it doesn't matter. Get acclimated there in your lunge. Let yourself feel your feet in the floor. Make sure that front knee is bent no farther forward than your ankle. Good, and we're going to switch our legs. So however you want to come to the other side. Take your time, enjoy. Feel the feet gently pressing away from each other. Enjoy how your hips feel. Enjoy the length of your spine. Good, we're going to switch again. Once you're here, let's add a little twist. Left hand to the left hip, rolling that left shoulder up, coming into that twist here in your lunge. You're welcome to add your arm up if you want, or keep your hand down. come on back to lunge so we can switch legs again. So getting into where you're very set here in your lunge so that it's easy to bring your right hand on up and roll that shoulder up. You can keep your hand down or you can stretch the arm up. And then we'll come on back down with our hand. We're going to step forward and come into standing forward bend. So be mindful here. Use whatever support you need. You know that. And go ahead and walk a little bit. So let yourself lift both heels up, and then as you lower one heel down and the knee bends on that other side, just very slowly let yourself enjoy when you're up with both heels and then when you release into that one knee bending. So you feel your feet getting a nice stretch. And then when you finish off, go ahead and bring both feet down so both heels are down. Let your knees soften a little bit. Feel your sitting bones over your heels. And you be mindful wherever you feel good to come in your Uttanasana, whether you put your elbows above your knees or you use your hands on the floor of the blocks. Just be easy and breathe. Just accept your breaths in and out. From here, let our hands come on up to our hips, press into our feet, and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to be in front of our hearts. Coming into mountain pose, if you need to shift around a little bit, do, or even change how far apart your feet are. Get yourself really comfortable so you can feel equally grounded through your feet. Thighs gently engage upward. Let the body just find its way into that alignment. And then we'll unfold our arms right on down beside us and inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. Clasp your hands there, turn your palms away from you. You can always bring your arms forward if you need, or have the arms directly up so that you have your arms by your ears. That's up to you. So pressing gently up into the heels of the hands, feeling the feet really grounded in the floor. Bend your knees a little bit, press the floor away from you like you're trying to really push the floor away from you with your feet. One more breath. And then let your arms release. Circle them around behind you. Clasp your hands right here behind you. Let your elbows be soft. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to bend our knees and come on forward. Now, you can stay parallel to the floor, or you can fold over your legs. Totally up to you. And whether your arms come off your back or not is up to you, too. So you can keep your hands on your back. You can release the arms off the back if that feels fine. Enjoy the weight of your head. One more breath. And then release your hands. Let them come on down towards the floor. And let your next inhale help you find that nice flat back. Now we're going to step our right foot back here and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Yay for the dog. Take your time to find your dog. Walk if you need to. Bend your knees at the same time. If that feels better to you, to really find that length through your spine, elbows softly hugging inward. And just enjoy, really feel yourself breathing a little bit into your back body if you can. So you feel like you're feeling the breath come into the back ribs, expanding that way a little bit. And then on the next inhale, let's come on out to plank. Nice and strong plank. Engage the belly. Press the floor away from you. Feel that strength in the core body there. Sitting bones reaching for the heels. And let's put our knees down. Lift our feet up. Pull ourselves towards the front of the mat a little bit and then lower down. Elbows right by the ribs. And then stretch your legs back long. Come on into Sphinx pose with your elbows underneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers out a little bit. Let yourself really feel the floor underneath your hands there. And then just be mindful. Let your head just turn a little bit side to side. So maybe you're kind of looking towards the front corner of your mat one side at a time. And then come back to bring your gaze just forward and between your hands. We'll come halfway down towards the ground and slide our hands back right to our upper chest. So you're up here in a little cobra already. If you want to keep going higher, go ahead and press into your hands and come up higher if you choose. Elbows hugging in towards the rib. And then we're going to lower all the way back down to the floor. We're going to come back to down dog, whether you come through a half or a full push-up, or just back to your hands and knees and back to dog, whichever feels the most comfortable for you. Feel those feet hips distance apart and let yourself enjoy pressing equally back out of your hands. And we'll bring the right foot forward to come into lunge. And you can put your left knee down to get there. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. And go right to your breath. Wherever you want to let your support be, or if you want to let your hands hold your elbows, or maybe slip your hands under your feet. Just be mindful. Watch the breaths all the way in and all the way out. Good. And then we're going to let our hands come on back up to our hips, bend our knees and lie straight on up to standing, and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. Enjoy a breath in mountain pose. Let yourself feel that sense of a lot of space around you, but like the air around you is holding you up really. And then we'll unfold our arms back down beside us and inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend our knees, coming on forward into standing forward bend again. Let your next inhale help you find that long, flat back. And this time we'll step left foot back to come into lunge. And inhale, exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Good. Let your inhale bring you right to your plank. And get your feet and your hands just in the place where you're comfortable. And now as you come back to dog, don't move your hands or your feet. Keep them where they are. Reach back into your down dog. Elbows hugging in. Let's do that again. Inhale your way out to plank, nice and strong. And then exhale, coming on back into your down dog. One more time. Inhaling out to plank. And this time we're going to lower down. So again, you can put your knees down first if you need. And we'll come into that cobra of choice. Your decision, how high you want to go. And then we're going to shift back towards child's pose. So letting yourself shift back, whether your hips stay up more in the air or go back towards your heels. Just relax your arms, right? So let your elbows be soft. If you want to bring your arms back alongside your legs, do. If you feel better to have them overhead, just let them relax if you can. And just breathe into your low back. Enjoy feeling that rising of the low back with your inhales. Good. One more breath. And then from here, stretch your arms back long overhead. We're going to come up to all fours and come back into downward facing dog pose. And we're going to bring our left foot forward to find lunge. And then we'll come on back into our standing forward bend. Right to the breath. Wherever you like your hands to go, let yourself be really easy in your upper body. Remember, you don't want to feel any kind of stress in your back, so if you need support, use it. Feel as you inhale the ribs expanding. And as you exhale, imagine the top of your head just wants to get closer towards the ground. One more breath. And then we'll release our our hands back up to our hips. We're going to rise straight up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bringing our hands down to be in front of our hearts. Find that mountain pose. Spread your fingers out a little bit and just barely have your hands connected. So they're touching, but it's a very light touch. So it almost makes you more aware of your hands when they're barely meeting there, not pressing, just really lightly touching. And then we're going to unfold our arms right on down and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And let our exhale carry us forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat, long back. And exhale your right foot back into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Inhale your way out to plank. Exhale as you lower down. And inhale into your cobra, choice how high. And exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend your knees, rising all the way to the top with your breath. And let your exhale bring you forward. Inhale into that nice long back. And exhale left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale bring you to that plank. And your exhale lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. Exhale back to your down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising again all the way to the top of the breath. And let your exhale bring you forward. Inhale, find that long back. We're going to come into down dog. Does not matter how you get there. So come into your dog. Take your time. Move around if you need to. Let your head turn side to side. If you want to walk your dog, do. Just let it feel good. Feel your whole body here in the dog. Feel your hands equal on the floor. Remember, you almost don't have any wrist crease. You're pressing so far back out of your hands. So it really feels like your whole body is yawning. And then from here, we're going to bring our left foot forward. We're coming up for Warrior Two, and you might want your blocks handy. So let's line up our heels and line up that front knee. So get yourself aligned with that front knee. Take your time, let it feel really good there. And then start to rise your arms up, but let your arms stay a little bit lower than you would in your warrior, and circle your hands around in one direction. So let them just circle easily. And then reverse, let them go the other way. And then let your hands come into fists with your thumbs on top and kind of squeeze a little bit there. Doesn't matter which direction you turn them. And then go ahead and start to reach out through the hands here now. Bringing your gaze out over the top of that left hand. Feel the feet pressing gently away from each other on the mat. Softening the shoulders down away from your ears. Enjoying your Warrior Two. And then from here, we're going to straighten that left knee out. And now, as you start to come to triangle, and that right arm just keeps going up, 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 if you have to end up putting the hand down on your hip, do. If you like to use a block underneath your left hand rather than your leg or the floor, do it. So feel the thighs lifting up towards the hips. Really enjoy finding that sense of that length out through the top of your head. Eyes engaging up the whole time, so there's a lot of action in your legs here. One more breath. And then we'll bend that left knee. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two, making our way all the way back into that length, all the way out through the fingertips. And we'll bring our hands on down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel. You might have to adjust how wide you are. And then for a second, just bring your arms straight out from your shoulders like you're in a T position. And we're going to bring our left arm on top of our right and give ourselves a hug. If you feel like going on into the full eagle arm wrap, you can, but you don't need to. So you can stay hugging. You can come into eagle wrap. Let yourself feel that space between the shoulder blades on your back. So really feeling that openness between the shoulder blades on your back. Maybe even imagine bringing your breath to that space. Good, so one more breath. And then let your arms release on down. We're going to bring our hands behind us and clasp them. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward, bend your knees. You know, totally up to you how far you go. You can stay more like parallel to the floor with a flat back. You can fold all the way upside down if you want to. Whether your arms will release away from your back is totally up to you and your shoulders. And it also has to do with how far forward you go, right? So just be mindful. If it feels good to release your hands off your back, your arms off your back, do. One more breath. And then we're going to release. Let our hands come on down. And from here, let's just walk over towards the right or shift your blocks a little to the right. Totally up to you. Just stay there for a breath. Once you get as far as you're going to go, stay there and breathe. And then come on back through center, and we'll go to the left. Again, you can go all the way to the foot. You don't have to. You can have a block underneath your hand. You can be in front of your foot. Just let it feel good. Good. And then walk your hands on back out. And now we're going to walk our hands out like we're coming into a plank, right? So we're going to come forward, walking and letting our bodies come down like you're coming into a plank with your feet really wide apart like this. You can go as far as you can. You don't have to go all the way. You can bend your elbows, do a little push-up if you want to once you get there. And then we'll walk our hands back. Walking yourself on back. And bend your right knee and then your left knee one at a time just to get yourself a little easier into your inner thighs there. Do what feels really good. And then when you're ready to set up for the pose, feel free to grab your blocks. You know that. You can have your hands or your forearms on a block. You can use block for your head if you want to. You can just be really mindful about how is the best way for you today to let your upper body release. You know, every day is different, right? So, you know, some days one thing feels better, some days another. So experiment around a little bit till you get to that place where you're like, oh, I could stay here and breathe for a long time. No tension build up anywhere. And just accept those full, deep breaths. Imagining that your inhales and exhales are equally important. One more breath. And from here, we're going to slowly walk ourselves back over towards our left foot. So take your time to come on back into your lunge. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Walk your dog a little bit, maybe even go to the top of the toes so you stretch out your feet a little bit. Enjoy that. Good. And then come on out to your plank and let yourself put your right knee down to the floor. Use the right foot like a kickstand and shift on up your left hand to your hip. And make sure that right hand is at a good place to float your left leg up, your left foot off the floor, right? So you'll want that hand under the shoulder, just at the right spot. You can look down, look at your hand there, and then go ahead and bring your gaze back to the long edge of your mat. Stretch your arm up for a second. Really extend through the whole body in this side plank variation. And then bend your left knee. And if you can reach back with your left hand and get hold of the top of your foot, do. If not, don't bother. You can just bend the knee and feel a nice stretch there in the quad. And then we're going to extend back into that long, long arm up, leg out long. One more breath. And then we're going to come on back down. And we're just going to go to the other side. So we're going to shift Bringing that kickstand of a left leg, stretching the right leg back long, bringing the right hand to the hip. And again, get the left hand in the good place so you can float your right foot off the floor. Sometimes, you just need to do it a little farther forward. Right arm up, extend all the way out through into that inner heel back there, out through the top of your head. If you can bend the right knee, do. If certainly don't try to get the foot unless you want to. Feel that sense of what happens when you bend that knee. You feel the core body sets off a little more there. And now try to slowly extend into that long, long leg, long arm overhead. Nice. And then we're going to come on back down, and let's come back to plank. You can move through to a back bend if you choose, but you don't have to. So if you want to come in towards an up dog or a cobra, do. You can go back to dog when you want. You can play around. You can put your knees down and rest if you'd rather, right? And take your time. Finish off, meet back in down dog. And we are going to bring our right foot forward and come into warrior two on the other side. So again, getting those heels lined up, getting that alignment of that front knee, letting yourself bring your hands up a little bit, and this time, at first, just shake your hands out a little bit. Wiggle your fingers around, yeah? And then make that fist, but let it be loose, and circle your hands that way with loose fists. And you can reverse the circle whenever you want. You can look down at your knee. If you find your knee hiking inward, please adjust it over the center of your foot. And then start to release. Those arms are going to float up and out, letting yourself look out over the top of that right hand. And just enjoy. Feeling very balanced in your warrior two. Feeling very strong as well. And from here, we're going to straighten the right knee out. And we're going to bring the right hand down for triangle. So again, you may decide to come down your leg. You may decide you want to take a block any height. Put your hand on a block. Feel your thighs lifting up towards your hips. Feel that left hand directly up over your shoulder. You're more than welcome, and I forgot to say on the other side, to look up if you want. Just enjoy finding that sense of the thighs working here, lifting upward, creating space in your knees. Good. One more breath. And we're going to bend that right knee. We're going to come on back into warrior two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. Good. Lowering the arms on down. Let's turn our feet again, more parallel. Get comfortable how wide you are. Bring your arms out beside you, and then we'll bring the right arm over the left. Again, you can stay hugging wherever you want to hug, like lower down towards your armpits or up and over your shoulders. And of course, if you like coming into half eagle or eagle wrap, you're more than welcome to. Whatever feels the most releasing. Now bring your breath into between the shoulder blades on your back. And just enjoy releasing into the shoulders. One more breath. And then we'll unwind our arms. Now this time we're going to come on forward. And you can use the floor or blocks for your hands. That's up to you. Once you get your hands to what surface you want, turn your toes out a little bit. And start to take your time. Bend one knee at a time with your toes turned out so that you're different feeling in the hips. You can go lower if you want. You all know that. If you want, you can, bend your right knee and lift your left foot up to be just on your heel. Or you can shift your hips down towards the ground if you want. And then, once you kind of get evened out there, come back to where you're still turned out at your hips, and you're going to bend both your knees like you're in goddess. But you have your hands on the floor of the block. Totally up to you how high you are. Just let yourself feel your thighs. Lift your right heel up a little bit. And then let it come back down. And then lift your left heel up a little. And then let it come back down. Good. And then see for both. See if you can bring both heels up off the floor while you're supported there with your hands. And then bring your heels on back down. Good. We're going to straighten our legs out, turn our toes forward so we're more parallel, and make your way on into your wide-legged forward bend. If you need to wiggle around a little bit more, do. And if you feel like you want support, use support. If you feel better to bring yourself just all the way, hands between your feet or back behind you, do. Now, those even breaths that we started with, where we counted when we inhaled and reached the same count to exhale, see if you can come back to those breaths that are very even. And we are from here going to walk ourselves out enough to get back over to that right foot. So come on back into lunge. Then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. And you're on your own here now. If you want to do vinyasas or kriyas, go for it. Would you rather put your knees down? Maybe you just want to come out to plank and back to dog. So just take your time. Be mindful. Let it feel easy, whatever you choose to do. Very natural. Good. Finish off. Meet back in down dog when you're done with the part you're on. Good. And we are from here going to bring our left foot forward. And we're finding lunge. And you might want your blocks. Kind of depends on you. You can have your hands on the floor. That's fine. Just find a nice, easy lunge here. And then see if you can keep your right hand down and stretch your left arm right up by your ear. So you have this long line, down the left side of the body from the sit bone all the way up through the side of the body out through your fingertips. And then bring that left hand on back down, and we're going to come into pyramid. So lowering the right foot down, and you may have to pull it in to shorten that stance to get your heel down onto the ground. Let yourself find that turnout of a little bit of turnout in that back foot. And then see about lifting all your toes up. Let yourself really keep the length of your spine here. And if you need to go up higher, do it. Be up higher on blocks if you need. Feel the four corners of the feet into the floor. Let your toes release back down. Let's bring our left hand right onto our left hip and come into Revolve Triangle, rolling that shoulder up. You can keep your hand right down there on your sacrum, or you can stretch the arm up if you choose to. Totally up to you. Lengthening out through the top of your head, feeling those thighs lifting up towards the hips. Good. One more breath. And then come on back down with your hand. And now if you're like itching to fold over your leg, go right ahead and do it. If it feels really good to you, you can come forward over that leg. Take your time. Just allow the backs of the legs to open up. One more breath. And then come up enough to bend your front knee and find your lunge. And you're going to want your blocks probably, because we're going to launch forward from here into Warrior 3. Bringing that right leg up off the floor there. For a second, open it like you're doing a half moon. Let the toes come away from the floor. Open up the hip a little bit. Stack that right hip a little. And then turn the toes back down towards the ground. Come back to that Warrior 3. Decide if you want to bring your left hand off the block, wherever you like to. So you can decide on your thigh, your heart. You can reach the arm forward. And then you play a little bit. If you want to practice bringing both hands off the block, you can always bend your knees, take a little break, right? And then you may decide you want to come into the Warrior 3 and maybe bring both hands up. Totally up to you. Just play a little bit, even if you just keep your hands down and feel that strength of that supporting leg. One more breath. Good, and then from here, we're gonna reach back into lunge. So let yourself come on back, find your lunge again. And from here, we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. From here, get your feet a little closer together. Lift your left leg up in the air behind you. Bend the knee and open the hip. Really let yourself stack the left hip on top of the right. Let your right heel descend towards the ground. Good. And then go ahead and release that foot back down. You can come into vinyasas or kriyas if you want. Totally up to you. You can let yourself move through however you want, or put your knees down and rest if you'd rather. Good. One more breath. Whatever you're doing, finish off if you're doing something side to side, or you need to finish off to meet back in down dog. And from here, we're going to bring our right foot forward and come into lunge. So again, as you set up in your lunge, you can have your blocks there if you want them. Let yourself start to feel that sense of getting up a little higher with your torso and bringing your right arm up by your ear, letting the palm face the midline of your body, right? Find this long line. Good. And then bring that hand on back down. Now you're all lengthened out. When you come into pyramid and you bring that left foot down and you adjust however you need, that angle of that back foot, at 20 to 30 degree angle. Feel the toes lifting up of both feet if you can. Feel your thighs lifting up. Feel lengthened through your spine. So both your hands are down, you're lengthened out through the spine. Let your toes come on back down. And now for this twist, this revolve triangle, when you bring your right hand up, you're really long, so it's easy to find that twist in the middle of the back. And again, you can roll that shoulder up, put your hand right down there on your sacrum. Feel that sense of the thighs still engaging upward. You can stretch your right arm up if you want. And see where you feel it. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the outside of my right leg gets it pretty good in this. Not to mention hamstrings or talking to you a lot. So one more breath. And then let yourself release, hand back down. And you can fold over the leg now if you want. If that feels like a relief, go for it. One more breath. And now, we're going to come back up. We're going to find lunge again. So take your time. Remember, you're about to launch into that, lifting that left leg up. So you can put your blocks way out there if you want. And then just bring yourself on up with that left leg into the warrior three first. And then go ahead and open your hip a little bit. Stack that hip. Let yourself turn the toes away from the floor like you're coming into half moon. And then turn the toes back down so you're squared and leveled off again in your hips. And now it's up to you. If you want to bring your right hand up, you can experiment with it coming up to your chest or to your low back. You can reach the arm forward if you want. If your leg's screaming at you, talking to you, bend the knee a little bit if you need to. Bend both knees if you need to. And if you want to play a little bit, go ahead and play with both hands coming up. Just be mindful. Enjoy finding that support, feeling that strength of the supporting leg. Good, one more breath. And then we're going to come on back down into lunge. So make your way on back, find your lunge again, and we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. Once you're in dog, bring your feet a little closer together, lift your right leg up in the air, bend the knee, and stack that right hip on top of the left. Let your left heel descend towards the ground, and enjoy. And then when you're ready, releasing to bring that foot down. Last vinyasas or kriyas if you want to do any more. So if you'd like to come through for into your up dog, or maybe you prefer to let yourself stay in dog, maybe you prefer just to come to plank, back to dog, or maybe you want to put your knees down. Good. So finish off. Meet back in down dog. Let it feel good. And then from here, let's let our feet come wider on our mats and walk our hands on back. See if you can, either just let your elbows rest above your knees, or bring your hands between your feet and wrap your hands around the back of your ankles to the outside of your ankles. If that's too much, don't do it. Keep your elbows above your knees, stay up higher, right? So if you're like that with your hands wrapped around behind your feet, if you want to bend your knees deeper and put your hips all the way down towards the ground, go for it. Your arms kind of provide a little bit of a cushion, really, you know? So if you feel good to do that, go right ahead. If not, don't do it. And if you'd rather come into a squat a different way, by all means do. So if you'd like to turn your heels inward and bring your hands to your heart to release your back and your low back and your hips that way, go for it, right? Good. And then from here, we're going to come on up with our hips and get our feet right underneath us. Let yourself take a breath through here in your Uttanasana. And then bring your hands up onto your low back. Clasp your hands, bend your knees, press into your feet, rise up. Keep your hands behind you if you can for a second. Slide the hands down a little bit. Feel space between your ears and your shoulders. But make sure you're not tucking your tailbone up under you, right? Feel your tailbone reaching down towards between your heels, but the belly engaging at the same time. And then a couple of three-part breaths, inhaling into the belly, into the ribs, and up into your chest. Feeling the breath coming out of the chest, then the ribs, then the belly as you exhale. And then let your arms release. Swing them around just a little bit. And we're going to bring everything into a wall. Turn our mat sideways. Bring everything with you because we're going to stay. So find a place at the wall and stay up. Don't go down when you get there. So, but when you do get there, take your strap. So if you didn't get a strap, just grab one off one of the shelves, as I forgot later to tell everybody who came in. And from here, the straps here are 8 feet. If you have a shorter strap, you might not want to do this, but you can fold them in half, okay? And then just take yourself, hold your strap with both ends of your hands so that when you bring the strap over your head like this, you're comfortable, right, in your shoulders. So, I mean, you may want to go longer. You may want to let your hands go farther apart and let your elbows softly hug inward. Or you might feel like, oh, I want my hands closer together because that feels really good in my shoulders. So you got to kind of find for you what feels good. And don't force it, right? Just enjoy. And then we're going to slowly lower the strap down in front of us, right? Keep pulling apart like you're trying to make your strap longer. And then we're going to do that same inhale, rising up the front and coming back up overhead. Good. And then see if you can just let your one arm come closer to your ear. Now, you're not moving your body, okay? Don't make it a side stretch. It's just your arm. The other hand is kind of pulling that arm that way towards your head. So if I pull with my right hand and my left arm comes more by my ear, right? But don't do it if it hurts. So you can do a couple of those, just a little side-to-side movement. Take your time. And you know, you kind of feel like that these are kind of silly and nothing until you finish with them, and then you're like, you know, it's not nothing. So if you can, bring it back into center. See if you can let the strap come a little behind you. And don't do this if it hurts your shoulder, right? Good. And then slowly let yourself come back overhead. Now this one, be really careful, especially with the metal end of your buckle. Hold the strap up above your head with your right hand and see if you can reach back with your left. Now we don't use the strap very often when we practice this pose, because I think sometimes we think we're too good for it. But let me say this, using the strap to let your hands come closer and closer towards each other is awesome. It's different than trying to reach back with your hands and get your hands to touch. And be really mindful, because it is a very deep pose in the shoulders. So keep your gaze forward. Let yourself just enjoy coming where you can. Remember, if it bothers either shoulder, come out of it. Don't let your hands get so close together. You're still going to get a lot in your shoulders without getting close with your hands together. Okay, so from there, bring that left hand on up so that you can switch and hold the strap up there over your head. Bring your right arm down. And then again, you may want to hold really far apart. You may want to just let yourself keep your hands like this far apart. Again, make sure you don't bang your head with your buckle. And then for me, I like to kind of let the strap move to where that bottom hand lets the strap come closer. Then I can kind of adjust both hands if I want to, if I want to get closer. Keeping that gaze forward, letting yourself just enjoy opening through the shoulders. And now, release and let everything come down. And man, oh man, when you use the strap for shoulders, it is something, isn't it? Go ahead and put it down. You don't really realize how much it does for your shoulders. We're going to come down and we're going to bring our feet back towards the wall behind us. And now that our shoulders feel really good, dolphin pose ought to feel really nice, right? We ought to be able to lift right up here and feel like nothing, right? Heels up the baseboard and let your head hang. And if you're like, yeah, well, no, what you did was make my shoulders tired and I don't want to even do this, then don't, right? So if you feel like, well, this didn't help, instead this made me, feel like I don't want to do this. But, I already see you guys walking up the wall, so feel free. You can put a leg up the wall. You don't have to. You can bring both feet up if you want. We're not going to spend a whole long time, so just take your time. Rest if you need, and if you do end up wanting to go up one more time, do, but don't force it. Just a little bit of an enjoyment of being upside down, right? And then come on. If you're up for your last time, go ahead and finish off. But when you do come down to rest, let yourself rest. However you need to rest. And we are going to come around with our legs in front of us and get our straps again. All right? So if you want to sit up on a blanket, sit up on a blanket. If you know forward bending for you, if we all bring the strap onto the ball of our right foot and bring our left foot in, this part of it really is up to you, whether the foot's lower or higher on your leg, or even if you have to bring the foot out and support it with your knee like that on the block, or same thing here if you're in with your foot to the inside of your leg and you need support. Sometimes it feels fine, right? And it feels fine until you come forward a little bit, and then you might feel a little iffy. So feel free, support how you need. Take your time, kind of come just a little bit forward and stay there if you can with a long back, and press into the strap with the ball of your foot. So you're just a little bit forward. Feel how the leg engages. Feel your quad. Feel your hamstring engaging. And then once you've given your leg a little bit of time there, if you want to go ahead and bend your elbows and come further forward, do. Keep pressing into the strap with the ball of your foot and feel your heel on the ground. So you can continue with that, letting yourself come as far forward over this leg as you want. Good. One more breath. Now keep the strap on your foot as you come up. Hold it with your right hand, okay? And then let yourself just draw your left knee back a little bit. So your whole facing of your hips has changed to like you're coming kind of diagonally, right? And we're gonna come into side stretch, letting the right hand slide down that strap now towards your foot. You can go all the way to the foot if you want, right? And you can even, if you just let your left hand rest on your left hip, you can even bend your elbow, let your elbow either come above your knee or to the inside of your knee if you want, and then start to roll your left shoulder up. And that right there is a deep side stretch. Whether you add the arm or not is totally up to you. So you can reach the arm straight up if you want. You can put the left hand behind your head if you want to. Or you can reach your left hand down towards that right foot, letting the left sitting bone float up a little bit if you want to go that deep. One more breath. And we're going to slowly make our way back up. That is such a deep side stretch. We're going to bring ourselves back around square to the front edge of the mat, and we're going to switch legs. So bringing the left foot into the strap and then pressing in to that, and you can look at it, you can see your own foot, you can make sure you're not rolling to the inside or the outside of that foot. The heel is on the floor and you're lengthened up. So again, if you bend your elbows and come just a tiny bit forward, that's what might bring a little bit of, undue pressure into your knee or your hip where it feels iffy. That's when you might want to put a block underneath it. Stay there for long enough to really feel what's happening. Feel your heel drawing down. Feel the pressure into the strap with the ball of your foot. So your thighs engaged, your hamstrings engaged. That way, if you decide to come further forward, you're still engaging, you're protecting yourself, you can come as far forward as feels good. Feel equal in your foot, remember. So make sure you're not rolling. The tendency might be to roll to the pinky toe side of the foot, really. That's the easiest way to roll, but just take your time. One more breath. And now as you come up, remember, you're going to keep holding with your left hand on the strap. And then you're just going to kind of draw that right knee back. If you need to stretch the foot a little farther away from you, put a block underneath that knee, do it, right? You don't want to add stress into your hip or your knee. But slide your left hand down towards your foot, as close as you can get. And then bend that left elbow. So again, it might end up kind of right there above your knee or close to your knee or inside your knee. Draw the right shoulder up. And that might be enough. You can add the arm. You can stretch your right arm straight up if you want to. You can, if you want, put your right hand behind your head. That's even pretty deeper. Right there is deep. And of course, if you want to reach your arm long or if you want to reach towards your foot with your right hand, you can. Just enjoy opening up through that right side of the body. One more breath. Now when you come up, be really mindful. Let yourself come on out and release to come on forward. Take your strap on off, put it off to the side. Bring your hands just behind you and let yourself open your chest here. Just draw the shoulders back. Let your chest come forward. Let yourself just feel nice and easy here. And we are going to come down to the floor. So if you want to roll down, you can. You can bend your knees, or you can even keep your legs straight if you want to roll down through your spine. Totally not necessary to do that. Come down the way you want. Once you get down there, bring your right knee into your chest. And then use your hands to just let yourself draw your knee from one side to the other a little bit. And you know, if that feels pretty good, you know, bringing it to the right and then to the left, you can make them kind of bigger. You can go a little more to the right with the knee and then a little more to the left if you want. Just let that hip release, in other words. And then come on back to finish with the knee at center. And we're going to bring the left knee in and extend the right leg down long. And then again, let yourself just play with your hands drawing the knee side to side. And again, you may decide, you know, that you want to really get way into bigger movement, deeper across the body when you draw it over, deeper to the outside of the body when you draw it that way. Let it feel good. And then come on back into center with the knee. Bring your feet both onto the floor here now. And just press, rise easily up into a bridge pose if you can. And if you're like, yeah, what I really want to do is get a block and be in supported bridge, then by all means do that. Right? You can rest on a block. You can stay up in your bridge pose without a block if you want. You can move up and down. So just be mindful. If you're on the block and you want to play a little bit, you know, you can let yourself do what feels really good in that support. If you want to stretch leg or legs out one at a time or both, or if you want to bring your feet up in the air, just start to just play. Maybe something else sounds like a better idea than bridge pose to you. So if that is the case, then by all means, let yourself do it. Or if you know that you need to come down and come into another pose, or maybe you need another kind of a twist, maybe you need to do a plow pose, maybe you're like, I really don't want to do anything except get ready for Savasana. So now, I think we got pretty warmed up today, but the floor is cold. Yourself if you need to move your arms or your legs around a little bit to get more comfortable, and your shoulders and your hips do. And remember, as you watch your breath, just let yourself keep returning to that wave of your breath when you wander off. Find yourself into a thought, so that you can refocus back over and over and over again to your own breath. Giving yourself these few minutes. Letting yourself find those little quiet places. Trusting that your body will get what it needs, find the balance that it needs. And just allow yourself to completely and fully relax. imagine those deeper breaths really refreshing your body, refreshing you so that you feel like moving again. Fingers and toes, hands and feet, moving into your arms and legs when you're ready, however you need to move. Just take your time, enjoy being cradled by the ground a little bit longer, whether you stay on your back or maybe you want to roll to your right or your left side. Just appreciate gravity holding you there and let yourself be really easy about coming back to being aware of everything around you again, really. And to take your time when you do feel ready to rise up to sitting. There's another step to get your head up above your heart again so that you start to feel even more energy coming back once you do get your head up above your heart. Get comfortable in the way you're sitting so that you feel okay in your hips and your shoulders. Let your eyes be gently closed. Let yourself watch your breath coming in and going out through your nose. Bless you. And on your next exhale, just let your hands come together in front of your chest, in front of your heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Happy Friday.
There's a guy that does videos on YouTube. It's two cats, Shorty and Kaye.